Hello students, today we are going to be covering something called axis of symmetry with our parabolas and vertex, which we've gone over before. Okay, so I'm going to go and put that there. So, before, our equation in vertex form for parabolas looks something like this, where we had x minus h squared in the parentheses plus k. We said our vertex was h and k, h being our x-coordinate, k being our y-coordinate. We also said that because h was inside the parentheses, we would have to flip the sign. So if I put an example here like x minus 3 squared and we put plus 4, well, we'd say that the negative 3 is going to be inside our parentheses, but because it's inside the parentheses, we have to flip it to a positive 3. And because k is outside the parentheses, we actually don't have to do anything. We can keep that positive. Again, negative changes to positive. This positive is going to stay positive. So our coordinate will be 3, 4. Hopefully that looks familiar to you. That's what we did, I believe, 2 lessons ago. Okay? But let's say we had an equation. Let's say it was x squared minus 3x plus 4. Okay? And let's say that I told you we needed to find the axis of the symmetry or the vertex for this, okay? Does this look like the same form that I gave you here? No, it does not. I don't see a parentheses, and I believe our squared is only over this x. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a formula, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put this big star next to it. This is going to be how we find our axis of symmetry, okay? And this formula is going to be negative b over 2a. Hopefully you remember b and a look very familiar, because I remember that in our standard form of a parabola we had ax squared plus bx plus c, a being our coefficient behind x squared, b being our coefficient behind x, and c just being the number. So if I asked you guys, let's label a, b, and c for this equation, x squared minus 3x plus 4. What coefficient is behind my x squared? Well, you might say that you don't see anything there. Whenever we don't have a coefficient behind a variable, what hidden number do we put there? I'm assuming you said 1. Great job. So we're going to put a 1 there. What number is behind my x? I have a 3, but it is minus 3, so I'm going to put negative 3 here. And c here is 4. Okay? What this helps us do is I can actually find my axis of symmetry using b and a. Okay? So if b is negative 3, if I wanted to use negative b over 2a as my formula, again, if b is negative 3, then negative b means I need to change the sign. So negative 3 is going to be changed to positive 3. We have 2 times a, which is 1. This is going to give us 3 divided by 2, which is equal to 1.5. So I know that the axis of symmetry for our parabola is at 1.5. And is this going to be my x or my y value? Well, let's look. If I draw any parabola, okay, do you think it looks symmetrical going this way, and I'm going to do dotted? Or do we think it looks symmetrical going down like this? I think that when we go down like that, we split it in half. Therefore, this is going to be our axis of symmetry. Something that's important to note, even though this looks like the y-axis, and I'm going to write y-axis here, okay, this number actually is going to represent our x value, okay? So I'm going to write here axis of symmetry x value. It will always tell us our x value of our vertex, okay? So if I drew y equals x squared minus 3x plus 4, I have already figured out that my vertex has a x coordinate of 1.5. Okay? So if I were to draw a parabola, it would look something like this. Okay? With my vertex being at 1.5 x value. So, let's put one more problem here, okay? I'm going to do x squared minus 2x plus 3, okay? And again, I'm going to try to find the axis of symmetry. So the first step that we're going to do, and I'll even write my CFS here. My first step is I'm going to label my coefficients. My second step is I'm going to substitute into negative b over 2a. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for right now, okay? So let's label these coefficients. I'm going to put a, b, and c. Let's see, how much time do I have? 6, okay. We don't have a coefficient behind x squared, but when we have no coefficient, what hidden coefficient is there? 1, very good. I see negative 2 behind x, so I'm going to put negative 2 here. I see a 3 alone, so I'm going to put 3. My equation for my axis of symmetry is negative b over 2a. If b is negative 2, then negative b, I need to flip the sign for b. So if b is negative 2, I need to flip that sign. Negative 2 turns to positive 2. I'm going to put positive 2 at the top. We have 2 and we have a, so I'm going to substitute that in. 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. So, what that tells us is if I were to graph this, we know our x-coordinate would be at 1. Okay? Now, do we have the vertex just using this axis of symmetry? I've told you that this is going to be the x-coordinate of our vertex. So if I draw my vertex here, we know this is going to be my x-coordinate, but do I have my y-coordinate? The axis of symmetry did not give me that. But what we can do, and I'm going to write for my third CFS, what we can do is we can plug this number back into our equation to find the y value. So I'm going to write substitute x in to find y. Okay, and one more time. We said that this was going to be our x value, right? So I can go ahead and every time I see x in my formula, I'm actually going to substitute it with 1. I have 1 squared. And we're going to put that in parentheses. I'm going to put this in parentheses. If I substitute, I will get 1 minus 2 plus 3. 1 minus 2, negative 1 plus 3 will give us 2. So, I have my x-coordinate of my vertex. I can use that x-coordinate to substitute back into my equation. Notice every time I saw x, we put in 1. And I can actually figure out y. So, let me ask you guys, do we now know our vertex? I would say yes, we have an x and a y coordinate. So, I know it's going to be at 1, 2, right? And let's think, does this parabola open upwards or downwards? Well, in front of my x squared, we had that hidden 1. I'll actually point up to this one. We had that hidden 1. I believe that's positive. If we're positive, we're happy. If we're happy, we're smiling. If we're smiling, we're going to open upwards. Okay? So, in this video, I have shown you the axis of symmetry here, which I'm going to box. We have negative b over 2a. Remember that this only gives us our x value. This only gives us our x value. Once we find our x value, we can substitute that back in, okay? And we'll be able to find y. Once we find y, we know our vertex, we are done, okay? I'm going to end it there. I'm going to highlight my CFS one more time. We're going to first label our coefficients. That's where I wrote A, B, and C. We're then going to substitute into negative b over 2a. Remember, negative b means whatever you get for b, you have to change or flip the sign. Here I had negative 2. Notice that changes to positive 2. Okay? And then once you find that, you will get the x value, and we can substitute that x value back into our original equation to find y. Oh. And once we find y, we know our vertex, okay? All right. Now that you've watched this video, I want you to complete this CFU real quick, and then after that, you're gonna log into Delta Math and complete the assignment I have posted, okay? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It was great interacting with you guys. I'll see y'all next time.